Hello and welcome to the conversation on Bright Radio TV, your home of talk and entertainment. From the city of Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, I am Ugo Madu, and top of the day to you. Okay, the conversation, as we do, will bring you an in-depth analysis of political issues, actions, activities in the political system in Nigeria, and its very impact on the nation as a whole. And today won't be an exception, rather it promises to be another interesting package on the conversation, because we have an issue that we want to look at today, an issue that has refused to go away from the political landscape and always calling for attention. And I have a wonderful gentleman here. They are referred to as the learned people, and is a public affairs analyst, to do justice to another very, very important issue that concerns our politics. We will go on a short break. When we return, the conversation continues in a bit. Stay with us. To the conversation on Bright Radio TV, your home of talk and entertainment. Okay, today on the conversation, there is an issue that has continued to generate controversies, clamoring and agitation in Nigeria. We do know that Nigeria is a constitutional democracy, and as such, the constitution is supreme in terms of activities and relationships in Nigeria. The letters and the provisions of the constitution are very clear as to how we relate and how governance is carried out in this country. And the constitution only made provisions that for amendment or for amendment of any issue in the constitution with respect to the country, there are certain processes and procedures that must be followed. But you find out that the process is quite complex and cumbersome, and that is why certain issues have remained unabated. Today on the conversation, we are looking at the restructuring debate as it rages on, and I have with me Barrister Ogenevo Otemu. He's a legal practitioner and a public affairs analyst to look at this very, very critical issue in Nigeria. Good morning, sir, and welcome.
Good morning, it's my pleasure.
How are you, sir?
Very fine.
Very good to have you here. Okay, sir. The Constitution is very clear. It's to promote peace, unity, progress, and the social welfare of all Nigerians. Means that it's hinged on equity, stability, and social justice. Am I right?
Very correct.
Good. Okay. Now, certain people, certain persons and groups have been calling for attention to be given to the issue or the concept of restructuring since the return of democracy to Nigeria in 1999. It has remained on the front burner. Please, sir, I would like you to shed more light on this concept of restructuring first. Let us understand what restructuring is and what it should be.
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Restructuring, just as the word portrays, is to rearrange the structure, to rework what is on ground. It is important to note that Nigeria actually did not start like this.
Okay.
By the time the colonial masters handed over power to Nigeria,
Yes.
and we got independence from 1960, by 1960 constitution, Nigeria was practicing
The parliamentary.
yes,
Okay.
but on the issue of federal, because when we talk of restructuring or not restructure, we're talking about practicing of true federalism
Yes.
or practicing of mixed federal system and unitary system. So we're practicing pure federalism at that time, up till 1966 constitution, 63 constitution, then up till 1966 coup. So there was a time Nigeria was working well. Then it was between the center and the regions. We didn't have states then.
So are you saying that the provisions of federalism were adhered to then?
Yes. Now, what is federalism? Because Nigeria is a very complex, multicultural nation.
Yes.
You cannot concentrate everything in one place.
Yes.
Like we have in the UK. The UK practices unitary system of government.
Yes.
Now,
They are homogeneous.
Yes. Now, but for us here, for you to really work well, we need a federal system where the different nationalities form their own governments, and then they report or submit to the central government. Now, which is the federal government. So, but what we have done since 1966 was to collapse the regions, even though states were now created.
Yes.
Powers were pulled from the states or the regions and concentrated in the center.
Then if we concentrated power in the center, are we still practicing the true concept of federalism?
Now, clearly,
Because federalism is a system of government that it devolves. There is power shared between two levels of government, and those levels of government they have co-equal powers or coordinate powers, as you may call it.
yes. Now, in a real federal system, it's not as if all powers must be shared,
Okay.
because there's
Exclusive.
no true federalism anywhere.
No.
Even in America. Now, because there are some powers for the nation to remain one,
Yes.
there are some functions, some powers that must be at the center.
At the center.
For instance, security.
Yes.
Not just security.
Because they are critical to the unity
yes,
of country.
military. Not just security, military.
Yes.
Because if we say security, it will be too broad. Because there are aspects of security that should also devolve. You know. So, for instance, military and some other powers should be at the center. But powers to develop the nation, power to develop the different components
Should be devolved. Okay.
And it was devolved. You remember when we started the Granite Pyramid?
Yes.
Nigeria was surviving on Granite Pyramid.
Yeah, that's what some advocates are saying, that we should go back to the regional system, because then, if you look at have analysis of the workings of the system, then that the regional systems were doing far much better in terms of development.
Yes. Now, but the problem now, the problem with our current system, the centralization has now brought laziness into our system.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to work again.
Because they are starting at the end of the month, they will go and collect.
Everybody at the end of the month comes to the Abuja to collect money. So devolve power, and then those who argue against true federalism or restructuring. One of their major fear is because there is oil in the Niger Delta. That is it, because oil is just the mainstay.
Okay, because this brings me to another question. Some advocates, we have two schools of thought, for and against this so-called restructuring. Some people are saying that the people clamoring for restructuring are few and localized, and it's as if it's selfish interest or sectional interest that they are putting forward, that is motivating them to call for restructuring. Is that true, sir?
Well, I will not say it is true or not. Now, naturally, there is this policy of self-sustenance.
Yes.
So, yes, for those who are clamoring for true federalism or restructuring, those in the north may see them as being selfish.
Okay.
Those in the west may see them as, thank God, even the west has not keyed into the clamor now. So which is because they've now understood the essence, the need to restructure. You will see that even the middle belt is not clamoring for restructuring. So the thing is progressing. The thing is progressing. Now, for those who think it is selfish, they are just making mistake. The truth of the matter, there is no part of this country that is not blessed.
Yes.
In fact, when they talk about, as a Christian, we talk about what the promise God gave to Abraham, that there will be milk and honey
flowing in the land.
I feel there's an error somewhere. It's supposed to be Nigeria.
Yeah.
It was Nigeria that God was sending Abraham to.
Okay, sir.
Every part of Nigeria is blessed.
Yes. Okay. If we have the clamor for restructuring, and we have a federal constitution that governs us, now, does this not imply that there are certain misgivings or there are certain perceptions that all is not well with the practice of government in Nigeria? Do you see that? Do you see this as an issue of imbalance in the system that has given rise to this clamor?
Yes, the truth of
and what areas do you see these imbalances?
Okay, now there are several imbalances in the system.
Okay.
In all our practices, there are imbalances. For instance, as a Niger Delta, I will always refer to my zone. I'm from the Niger Delta. When you come to the Niger Delta, where oil is being explored, for instance, my village, we have 36 oil wells from my own little community. Now, when you get there, nothing happens.
In terms of development?
In terms of development.
There's no commensurate presence of government?
Nothing. Now, so they just come, take the oil, and in the course of taking the oil, they mess up the environment. So people in those areas have been, on a disadvantageous position already. Okay. They cannot live their normal life. Yes. Now, the other parts of the country, which is the north or the west, they bring the money, they use it to develop. Yes, they talk about 13% derivation. Even in the course of 13% derivation, there's corruption.
Yes.
So the people see everything in government being imbalanced. Okay. Because they are not getting what they ought to get from government.
Would you lay the entire blame on the federal government in terms of the presence of government and appropriating the resources to the development of the Niger Delta in particular? Would you not bring in the leaders of the Niger Delta and the governors, the former governors, the serving governors, and the people that are critical to the development of Niger Delta, who have one role or the other to play in government?
Yes, beyond clamoring for true federalism, the major problem of Nigeria is corruption. If corruption is not in Nigeria, though the Niger Deltans will still, suffer some inconveniences. What has been coming and what is still coming to the Niger Delta can, to a large extent, help the region.
Yes.
But the major problem is the practice of corruption. Everything we do in Nigeria is corruption.
Because the truth is, we have to take ourselves seriously. The people from the Niger Delta, all the leaders who have one role or the other to play, as I said earlier, should take it very seriously, because they are the ones that live there. They are the ones that would even lead the struggle, the march for development, to encourage the federal government, because it's unfortunate, because when the federal government allocates these resources and at the end of the day what we have on ground is not commensurate, we wouldn't blame the federal government entirely.
No, you don't. Nobody's blaming federal government entirely.
Okay.
As we blame the federal government, or not your federal government, as we blame the country for the system it practice,
yes,
we also blame those who manage our different zones and regions.
Yes.
Corruption is a problem.
Yes.
For instance, Delta State gets some good billions
every month.
What are these monies? What have they been used for? You are aware that our governor, one of our first governors since 1999, was convicted of stealing our money. So these are the major problems. If the resources that are coming are being used to develop the region, probably we would have not be complaining as much as we are. So one thing we must deal with is corruption.
Okay. Okay. This issue of restructuring, from the provisions of the Constitution, because the Constitution has stated how we are going to live and relate as one indivisible entity called the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if we must amend any provision of the Constitution, there is a process to do this. That process is very complex. The framers of the Constitution, did they not have it on their minds that there will be a time to review the Constitution? Why did they make it so complex and cumbersome?
Yes, it was necessary to make it that cumbersome because you will know that those who formulated the Constitution, the current Constitution since 1979,
yes,
they are from a region,
yes,
and so they will need to protect themselves.
Okay.
They need to protect their region,
okay,
and so in doing so, they need to make the means of amending it a little bit cumbersome, so that before you can amend the Constitution, you must carry the entire nation along. But I tell you this, as we speak today, if the bill for restructuring comes back to the National Assembly, I can assure you that it will enjoy maximum support. What we need is two-thirds majority of the different houses. Now, you see that the West is clamoring for restructuring. The North, the East,
yes,
the South.
Yeah,
now the whole Middle Belt have now joined in. So the only region that is now left is the Northwest and Northeast.
Okay, do you see the call for restructuring as a call for either partial or total review of the Constitution or a new Constitution?
The Constitution, 1999 Constitution that we're practicing now is a total flaw. It's a very bad document. The proper thing is for the nation to sit down. We have sat down severally. There have been several constitutional conferences.
We're going to come to
so the nation needs to sit down and rewrite the Constitution for itself. Now, when you read the preamble of the Constitution, it says, we ourselves made...
And we never sat down.
So when did we sit? When did Nigeria sit? So the few period Nigeria has sat, even though it was still by few representatives,
yes.
Those ones we accepted, but till today those laws have not been brought to play.
Okay, you are still watching the conversation on Bright Radio TV, your home of talk and entertainment, and we are still with Barrister Ogenevo Otemu, doing justice to the issue of restructuring. We'll go on a quick break. The conversation returns in a bit. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back from that short break. You are still on the conversation on Bright Radio TV, your home of talk and entertainment, and we are talking about restructuring with Barrister Otemu. Okay, Barrister, what do you see as the legal encumbrances to effecting this change or amendment in the Constitution, in line with this clamor by certain groups and individuals in Nigeria today?
Well, I don't see any legal encumbrances at the moment.
Okay.
The only encumbrances would have been what we just discussed, the requirement for the amendment.
Okay.
And we cannot correct that now. We can't do that. So gradually, I feel the Constitution will continue to evolve. For instance, today, autonomy has been given to the state assemblies.
Yes.
To a judiciary of all the states and federation. So gradually that it's working. So by the time the constitutional review is brought again before the National Assembly, I believe other areas will be corrected, particularly on local government autonomy is very important too, because that's one major area we're not looking at.
We are surprised that the state houses of assembly across the nation were not able to muster the needed support to effect the local government autonomy.
Okay, yes. What happened? Let me explain so that there was a level of power play.
Okay.
Two issues came before the National Assembly for amendment. One, autonomy for houses of assemblies and judiciary, as well as local government. And the governors, they control the resources. So they were not comfortable allowing these funds to just leave them like that.
What should this be?
No, so what they did, what the houses of assembly did, which I felt was very important, which it was very nice, was to say, okay, let us negotiate for ourselves. Let's get autonomy for ourselves, so that we can become autonomous. Because if they are not autonomous, all the houses of assemblies are just
rubber stamps
to the governors. But with the autonomy they now have, now they know that without the governors, they can live well. They are on their own.
But if you say that,
so they traded the local government autonomy for houses of assembly and judiciary autonomy.
But if you say that, sir, okay, in the recent past, not too long ago, we've seen certain issues come up in certain states and the disposition of the state lawmakers tilting towards that of the governor in these respective states, as if there is no state assembly and the governor just thinks of something, wakes up, designs it, and the state assembly enforces it. What is your take on this? Because if you say someone is autonomous, then you need to have a certain level of independence on your own and be able to exercise such independence too.
Now, all resources that goes to the state, accruable to the state, goes into the hand of the governor.
Yes.
The houses of assemblies and the judiciaries, they come cap in hand begging the governors for allocations, for even their salaries at times.
Yes.
So that's why you see speakers of the respective houses of assemblies, they are like appointees of the governor. Then the chief judges, they need anything, they come begging the governor. So the governors were now too powerful. But thank God, autonomy has now been granted. What I want to see is the true implementation of that, which I know in no distant time. If they have not started now, in no distant time it will start, because some of us we go to court to see how it must be enforced. And once that starts, once you know that I don't need you to survive, there will be a level of confidence.
Yes.
It's not as if they are not competent. They are competent, but if you cannot pay your child school fees, you cannot do this. You want to do anything to survive. So the speaker, the houses of assembly, that's honorables, the speakers, the judiciary, the judges, and the chief judges were just, that was why they were begged. Each time they begged the governors, and so they must do whatever the governor wants in order for them to get their own allocations.
Okay, sir, going back to this issue of restructuring, it means, or it shows that there is lopsidedness in appointments, management, and allocation of national resources. What is the impact of this lopsidedness on the nation as a whole?
It has caused a very great level of underdevelopment. Nigeria is not developing because of the structure we are practicing. Everything goes to federal. Everybody is in Abuja today.
Yes.
Probably myself and yourself will not be in Abuja today. But because the whole resources in Abuja, everybody troops to Abuja. Yeah. But if the Kano man, have you traveled from here to Kano, to Kaduna to Kano? Yeah. Look at what does Brazil has? It's just agriculture. Yeah. Thailand, all these countries. It's just
able to develop themselves.
And they are developing themselves.
Singapore, Malaysia.
So what if the Kaduna governor knows that if he explores the resources, which is agriculture, develops agriculture properly, we don't need oil. We don't. It's just for the governors to wake up and develop the resources. Go to Kogi. Kogi has Kogi, Ondo, they have several solid minerals.
Nasarawa and all of them.
Do you know what happens? The foreigners come and still, because the states don't have the power to manage it. The locals do not have the power to manage it. So what the foreigners that know about the resources come, they practically still working with some few locals illegally, steal these resources and take them away. But if we are restructured and the states now knows that this is our property, if I tell you the oil theft that is going on today, you won't believe it. Why is it happening? The states feel it's federal government thing, let them do whatever. And can federal government police this whole area?
The cannot. Is large.
So if as Delta State government, I know that if you steal 1 barrel of oil, it will impact on my income.
Yes.
I'll fight you.
Yes.
But if I know that it does not have any business with me and I can connive with you to steal it so that federal government will not get it, I do that. So that is what is happening. There's so much theft of natural resources. Is it oil? Is it solid mineral? And then not to talk of the agriculture sector that is in a state of comatose.
Okay, sir. You did say something earlier. We've convoked a whole lot of conferences. We give them different names and different acronyms. Appropriated several billions of naira belonging to Nigeria to come up with certain documents to guide us. Some will say we're going back to the drawing table. Some will say we need to sit down and renegotiate the very existence and the structure of this country. We have spent all this back and forth. Until date, none of these reports has seen the light of day. What does this imply? Because
of the will, political will.
So why setting up the committees and the conferences and appropriating these several billions that would have ordinarily been appropriated in some other productive ends?
It's quite unfortunate. For instance, that's one thing I queried about Jonathan's conference. You were in power for 6 years, 6 good years. You are from the minority region. So one would expect,
and you had the opportunity.
You had the opportunity. One would expect that you really, if you really want to help the nation, what he did while leaving power was what he would have done earlier
on.
And if it was only restructuring Jonathan had given to Nigeria, by today we would have been applauding him, would be calling, even though he probably would have lost the election, but would have been calling him a hero. Yes, they call him hero just because he called Buhari, just a call. That is why they are calling him the hero of democracy today. Do you understand me? So, yes. Assuming he was able to restructure Nigeria, assuming he was able to implement that the report of the conference that he convoked, you don't imagine the level Nigeria would have gotten to by now. Nigeria is not developing, not because Nigeria does not want to develop, not basically because of corruption. Yes, corruption is a major problem, but that is not all. If power is devolved, economic power is devolved, all these resources, natural resources, transportation, for instance, you want to import anything in Nigeria, it must land in Lagos because of the federal structure.
Concentration.
It must be in Lagos. Now, what happens to the port in Warri? What happens to the port in Sapele, Port Harcourt? On several ports, Calabar,
all of them,
Escravos, all these places.
Okay,
so if you liberalize the system, devolve these powers, and you liberalize the system, yes, some regions we move faster.
There will be an increased level of consciousness.
Thank you. The one thing, the fear is, Niger Delta will grow faster. Yes, some regions will move faster. They will move fast and get to a pair.
There's no time in life that everybody's going to grab the same pace.
And so those who are scared will even do better. They will do better
because they will discover their hidden potential.
Yes.
Okay, quite interesting. A discussion with Barrister Otemo on the issue of restructuring. Still on the conversation on Bright Radio TV. We will go on a quick break. The conversation continues in a bit. Stay with us. Back from that short break, you are still watching the conversation on Bright Radio TV. We're still talking about restructuring. Before we went on break, we're looking at the conferences that have been convoked to no avail, if you ask me. Okay, sir, in your considered opinion, what is your suggestion in terms of restructuring Nigeria, given the fact that certain advocates have made case for a return to the 1963 constitution, where we had a regional government, then it was 3 made to 4, okay, and they said there was efficiency and there was conscious development on the part of the regions. And some people are saying, okay, let's go to the 6 geopolitical zone arrangement with a weaker center. What is your take? What's your personal and considered opinion on this?
My view is there's no point going to regional system, because that will cause another problem. The one major clamor for creation of state was because even the regions, within the regions are some dominant ethnic groups. Yes. They were also subjugating the smaller ethnic groups. So the state's arrangement is a fantastic one.
Okay.
Yes. All we just need is devolve power to the states.
So,
and then
are you saying
give autonomy?
Are you saying that they should discard the regional system?
Yes.
But now we are operating like we call a semi-regional system, because states are aggregated into geopolitical zones. So should we discard this?
No, we can keep the geopolitical zones as they are. They have no powers. They have no government.
Okay.
It's just there. It's just for the states.
So power should be devolved to the states.
Yes, to the states, and then give local government full autonomy. When I was young, we used to see local government.
You're not so
when I was a little younger. We see local government do certain things, but today, local government is just our chairman. I don't even know my chairman now. They were very powerful then. So, devolve power to the states, let power be given to the states, and then local government be given their own clear autonomy with their powers.
Yes.
The functions of local government should be carried out by the local government. Education, other things, by the local government. Then the state should have powers to explore resources within its region, within the state, and pay percent. For me, I advocate to the extent that, look, we have 13% derivation is a policy right now.
Yes.
So which means the 13 from 100 is 77. Let the state be paying 77% of their income. 87 of their resources, yes, of the natural resources.
Yes, yes.
To the federal government.
Okay.
One thing you will get in that, it will be fantastic. One thing you will get is this. I told you about, as a legal practitioner, I've handled, there are some I'm still handling now. National Assembly has questioned some of them. Pure, clear oil theft. They steal billions from this country on daily basis. When I mean billions, and I mean it. We have evidence. National Assembly has investigated some, both Senate and the House. They are investigating them. But nothing can happen because these people are very powerful. But if you devolve powers to the states, the state government and the local government, the communities will fight these thefts.
Yes.
And then because they need resources to develop the state. So the moment they see that, okay, I am to generate resources to develop myself,
yes.
I will not, if I want to be a good governor,
you won't be able to sabotage it.
You understand? So this is what is happening.
Okay.
Devolve power to the states.
Okay, sir.
If possible, give subsidy to those to those resources that have not been developed.
Okay.
Because the argument, one other argument is that they have developed the oil sector. So you want to give it to, it's just like blessing
to encourage
this thing,
exploration of those other
all those other resources. Give lesser percentage of task to those resources.
Okay, as a public and political affairs analyst, again, and as a legal practitioner, some people are criticizing the APC-led government because a statement was credited to the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, a few days ago, that he said in the United States of America that the problem with Nigeria was not about restructuring, it was about efficient and effective management of our national resources. And some people are saying, no, sir, you can't say this, because one of the promises of the APC before the 2015 election was to attend to the issue of restructuring. What do you have to say to this? Is it that they abandoned this when they came to power, or did they not actually make this statement to Nigerians, this promise?
The truth of the matter is, I was so disappointed when I heard that. I'm an APC man. I was so disappointed when I heard it. It just make public officers look like puppets. The moment you are holding a position, you cannot speak out your mind again. This Osinbajo that is talking is one of the major proponents of true federalism. As a Commissioner of Justice of Lagos State, you don't understand me. All he did, if he sued federal government severally on these issues, and then you not come to power and you say no, that is no longer, because you feel that your boss, his body language does not support restructuring, so you must satisfy him at all costs. For me, it's too mean. I'm so disappointed, I must say so. I'm APC, but the truth of the matter, the truth must be said.
But you're a Nigerian. That's forced.
Yes,
forced. You're a Nigerian before the party.
Before the party, the truth must first be said.
Yes.
They just kill people in Jos now.
Yes.
Restructure Nigeria, all these things will stop.
And they killed soldiers the other day in Borno.
So restructure Nigeria, most of these things will stop. Let them be state police. Let this thing, everything fall into place.
A whole lot of clamor. The IPOB, the militants in the Niger Delta, the OPC in the southwest, and even the people in the Middle Belt. We have a lot of killings. We have a lot of issues as a result of the imbalances in the system.
And then you come out to just talk to please your boss. No, I think sycophancy is the major problem Buhari is even facing. Sycophancy is the major problem. People have because they just come and they sycophantically, rally around him
and tell him what
he wants to hear. Atiku was in power, was a vice president. Atiku was tackling Obasanjo. In fact, Obasanjo would have been president for top 10, and that's why, not for Atiku.
And that's why there's no love lost between the two of them.
Do you understand?
Okay, quite interesting, quite revealing too, with Barrister Otemo on the issue of restructuring. On a party note, what do you have to tell Nigerians who are watching you?
Well, Nigeria should keep faith. The struggle will continue. One day we'll get there. Okay. Nigeria will be greater again.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that's a segment on the Breakfast Show on the conversation on Bright Radio TV, your home of talk and entertainment. We bring you very good analysis of trending political issues as a nation, with the view to engaging ourselves constructively and finding a way out of this impasse. More so, we're approaching the 2019 general elections. Okay, the conversation returns to you same time tomorrow morning by His grace. Have a good day. And at the top of the hour, Sports Attack comes at 9. Please stay with us.